If you're like most people, I guarantee that at some point you've felt very tense within the neck. Whether it's a sedentary job, irregular sleeping patterns, or poor posture, these factors can all lead to creating stress and tension within the neck muscles. I'm Coach Paulina, and today I'll be talking about the levator scapula muscle, which is located right at the top of the scapula and it runs alongside our neck. So when these muscles get very tense throughout the day, it can get extremely uncomfortable. And I have 5 variations of a stretch that you can do that will really help elongate the levator scapula muscle and help relieve tension within your neck. Let's go ahead and go straight into those stretches. Standing assisted stretch. Stand with your feet about shoulder distance apart, practice good posture, roll your shoulders down and away from the ears. From here, go ahead and take one hand and place it behind your back. Make sure that the top of your hand is making contact with the lower portion of your back. Make sure that this shoulder doesn't shrug, so I want you to actively pull it down and away from the ear. Go ahead and tuck your chin to your chest, then rotate your chin towards your opposite armpit. From here, reach your opposite arm up and overhead and apply slight pressure so you can feel a deeper scap stretch. I recommend doing this anywhere from 30 seconds to 2 full minutes. I do recommend starting with light pressure, so you're just adding in slight resistance here to your stretch. And then throughout the time frame that you choose, you can increase the amount of pressure that you are applying, because typically the neck is a little bit sensitive. So if we go into the stretch gung-ho and we're really tugging at the muscle, that doesn't necessarily feel the greatest. So just listen to your body and slowly ease into a stretch. So you're gonna find a chair. In your seated position, make sure your feet are flat on the ground and you're sitting nice and tall. From here, you're going to grab underneath your chair and make sure that you're just slightly applying pressure so this shoulder stays down and away from your ear. So I'm just tugging just a little bit so I can feel like this portion is secure. From here, tuck your chin to your chest and slightly rotate towards the opposite armpit. And then for assistance, we're going to grab your opposite hand, place it on top of your head, and slowly work your way up to a deeper stretch. What I love most about the seated assisted stretch is that it's very accessible. You can do this at work. You can also do this at home if you're watching a movie or you just feel tight. You're like, you know what, I'm gonna stretch. You just scoot yourself to the edge of your couch and you simply do your stretch. Similar to before, we're practicing tall posture. Instead of feeding your hand behind your back, we're gonna cross in front of the body by keeping this arm relaxed and straight out in front of us. Your opposite arm is gonna grab and we're gonna slightly pull at a diagonal, just making sure that that shoulder stays packed and we're not coming up into a shrug. Tucking the chin to the chest, then rotating towards the opposite armpit. This is a great modified stretch, especially if you're feeling just a little bit of tension within the levator scap, or if you feel that the assisted stretch is just too much of a position to get into. This is a great option for anyone who might have limited shoulder mobility, or just in general, it's an easy position to get into. Same idea, anywhere from 30 seconds to 2 minutes is the goal. And slowly ease your way into a deeper stretch. So you're going to go ahead and grab a band. If you don't have a band accessible, you can grab a towel. Make sure it's long enough so you can grip onto it. If you do have a band, make sure that you're stepping onto the band with safety, so it's in the middle of your foot, not at the toes, so it can come and fling up. So we just want to practice some safety here. Gripping onto the band, The band is gonna create some tension here, so make sure that the shoulder stays packed, shoulder is down and away from the ear. And if you need additional assistance, that's when you step closer to your anchor point. If that's too much, you just step your way away from the anchor point to loosen up and decrease the amount of tension that's going into this area. I like more tension, so I'm gonna step a little bit closer to my anchor point. From here, tucking the chin to the chest. I'm like, you get the idea now. Rotating your chin towards the armpit. Feeling a deep stretch with the band. I would say that the band is a little intense at first, so it gets a little, it's just very deep. It takes time to get used to because this is an external tool that we're using to stretch the muscle instead of using your own body. So it can get a little bit of time to get used to it. Whew. Trigger point release. You don't need a fancy trigger point ball. You can simply use a tennis ball or a lacrosse ball to really target the area. And before we actually apply the ball to the muscle, I'm going to have you find the muscle just with your hand. So the levator scapulae attaches at the top of your shoulder blade. So if you find this bony landmark here, that's the top of your scapula. And where the levator attaches is a little bit closer to your spine. So a little bit more inwards towards the body. We're still in that region of feeling the levator scap. Then it runs all along and up towards the neck. So feel free to just feel this muscle. So essentially this is the muscle and this is the area that we're going to be applying the ball to. So you're going to need a flat surface like a wall to position yourself against, and I'm going to come up to the camera so you can see exactly where we're going to be positioning the ball. So first, we're going to start by pushing our bodies into the wall, and I'm going to have you go from side to side, feeling that tension. If you find a trigger point, you're going to lean into it and just hold it for any desired time. So usually like 15 seconds to a full minute. A full minute is pretty long, but do whatever you need to get into that trigger point. And then after we go from side to side or stopping at that trigger point, we're just going to go up and down, up and down. Okay, so you're finding your wall here. I'm going to go over here. You can't really see me too well back here. So I'm finding that levator. I'm going from side to side. And then I'm holding any type of trigger points that I feel. So I'm holding, breathing into the position. Cool. And now I'm going up and down. This is like a speed version. I usually take a little bit more time to do each little portion. So side to side, maybe I'll take about 2 minutes to do that. Holding any trigger points, that's anywhere from 15 seconds to a full minute. And then up and down, going up and down within that muscle. It can be anywhere from 30 seconds to a minute. Honestly, just feeling what's great for your body. Whew. And recover. Typically with the trigger point ball, I don't love to go up into the neck. This is a very sensitive area by the cervical spine. So usually I love to just target that point above the shoulder blade because it's the more meaty area. This is the area that will feel a lot of trigger points. Sure, the neck can feel a lot of trigger points, but I find that usually your own hands, adding in some sort of tension within your hands, within your own fingers, helps sometimes more than the ball because we get to control that a little bit more. So whenever you're doing trigger point, make sure that you are well hydrated and that you're hydrating after your session. So we're bringing blood and nutrients to the area, and we want to make sure that we're replenishing the body by fueling it with water and, of course, healthy, nutritious food afterwards too. So those are our 5 variations to really stretch and trigger the levator scapula muscles. Make sure to subscribe, like, comment on this video. We hope to bring you more stretches and mobilizing movements in the future. I will see you next time.